Good morning. I hope all is well today and that everyone is focused on doing well and praying and focusing on God and just doing all of the things that makes you stronger. My name is Joseph B. Harris. I've spoken to you guys many times in the past. I am a drug addiction counselor. I was a counselor in New York for 45 years, studying the drug addicted mind. I also have a bachelor's degree and credentialed by the state of New York. Now that I moved to Florida, it's been reciprocity to Florida. I have 12 and a half years of history of intravenous heroin addiction and alcohol. And it's been 46 years since my last high. So I've been studying this drug addiction mind for many, many years. And I've written three books. My first book, Escape from Critical Confusion. That's my autobiographical textbook where I talk about how drug addiction starts and how to beat it from a reality perspective. When you're looking at how the drug addicted mind works, really how it works, and how it continues a person to use again and again and again, even after so many horrific experiences. So that's Escape from Critical Confusion. My second book, Black America Breaking the Code. And I talk about different aspects of the Black American condition and situation and history. I talk a lot about history and different things that we need to do to uplift ourselves. And my last book, Drug Addiction, the Most Powerful Enemy Against It, A Recovering Sober Mind. That's the book that we're going to focus on today. And we will talk about honor today. As we know, most human beings honor ourselves. Something happens in the drug world that takes that away from us to a certain extent. So we're going to talk about that and how drug addiction affects honor and what we need to do to bring that honor back into our mind. But first, I want to read one of my notes. I mentioned you guys before that I'm going to, read notes that I write every time I think of something over the last 46 years. I write something down. And this is one of the things I wrote. While working in a hospital, I heard one of the nurse's aides say to a patient, "You're never going to be anything. You're a drug addict." The patient became enraged, calling her multiple profanities. What the patient realized during that moment of sobriety and treatment is that he does not want to see himself as a failure, nor does he want others to see him in that perspective. When his brain was drugged daily with powerful chemicals and plants, he did not care how he looked because the drugs blocked his ability to perceive or understand the reality of his condition. This is how a doctor or lawyer who has become full blown addicted and lost everything he owned can live homeless and beg for money in the streets. In recovery, with our sober mind, we're going to regain honor for ourselves and rebuild our lives on honor and respect. The desire is in you. No matter where you are right now in your addiction, that desire is in you to rebuild yourself up with honor. Remember, I always remind you guys, the first thing that you must do if you're out there using every day is to become detox. You have to cleanse the body and mind of drugs in order to beat this fella. You cannot beat drug addiction if you don't cleanse your body and mind. I mean, that's very obvious. I like to drive that home because some people may see me, oh, I'm gonna get myself together, I'm gonna get myself together, and they just keep using without getting themselves together. Go to detox. There's money out there waiting for you to treat your detox, your rehab. It's there. So we want to make sure that we save our life. Our life is so precious. I mean, just the fact that when someone is born, that the first inception into the egg, and from that little teeny tiny drop of liquid where the eyes are formed, the brain and the heart and lungs and the kidneys, and then the infant comes out and the mother nurtures him, or her up until a adolescent, come on. This is precious. Your life is very, very precious when you give it to drugs, and that's part of what drug addiction means. It's giving over. The Latin meaning for addiction is give over. I give my life over to heroin. You want my wife, my kids, my job, my health. I will die for you. I give my life over to alcohol, methamphetamine, same thing. You're giving your life over to poison chemicals and plants that have no mercy on you. Let's talk a little bit about honor, the dictionary's version of honor. The first thing it says here from the dictionary perspective is high regard and great respect for myself. Because when I'm talking about honor, I'm talking about honor for myself. So when I think about high regard and great respect for myself, I'm not just talking about my face. I'm talking about respect for my heart. I'm talking about respect for my liver, respect for my lungs, respect for my stomach, respect for my brain, respect for my kidneys, respect for my entire being. So when I use drugs, I'm taking, one of my patients said to me that he had vodka for breakfast, vodka for lunch, and vodka for dinner for 3 months. I asked the nurse, I said, can this guy live that long without any nutrients? She said, yeah, it obviously did. Nothing but alcohol. Some of the patients tell me they're using $200 a day worth of heroin, $6,000 a month of poison I'm putting into my veins. That is no respect for my vital organs, no respect for me as a human being, no respect for my role as a man, no respect for my role as a woman, no respect for my role as a mother or father, just total disrespect for myself. But we need to understand that. But you have to get sober first, because as long as your brain is drugged, and we can say to ourselves, man, I know I should do this when my brain is drugged. And then 2 seconds later, turn around and say, I can't do it right now. So we want to make sure that when I start attacking my addiction, I attack them from my strongest point, not my weakest. When my brain is drugged every day, I'm at my weakest point. So that first part, respect for myself, respect for my role as a man, as a woman, as a mother, as a father. You can regain that respect for yourself as long as you stay sober and you're doing things to make you feel good about yourself. And the first thing you're going to do to make you feel good about yourself is come off the drugs. Some of you guys are already off, which is great. But try to remember, now that you're off, you want to show that respect for yourself. And what happens if I don't show that respect for myself and I start using again? I'm back under the slavery of addiction. I'm doing all kinds of crazy things that I would never do. Sometimes I become suicidal because of my behavior and my condition. We don't want to go back to that. Nobody wants to go back to that. I believe that every drug addicted person does not like the results of being addicted to drugs. But you have to get your brain sober long enough to understand, hey man, I like the feeling of the drug, but I don't like that lifestyle. I don't like going to jail. I don't like being homeless. I don't like being cut or shot. I don't like the different illnesses that come up. That's the reality of drug addiction. Nobody wants that. Human beings love to be happy. We love to be successful. One of our common human needs is called self-actualization, where all human beings want to see how far up we can go, not how far down. And we live in the greatest country in the world. And we decide that even after I realize that I have made a mistake by becoming addicted to drugs, that I'm going to go back. Remember, nobody plans on becoming addicted. So drug addiction is actually a mistake. You didn't plan on becoming into this condition. But now that you're in this horrible condition, what am I going to do about it? Now that I can understand that this is wrong for me and I'm an adult, what am I going to do about it? I'm going to keep living the mistake. I'm going to go back to it because I feel like I want to go back. Remember, I told you guys once before, the feeling level in us is the childish level. I want what I want when I want it. The adult level is that intellectual and factual level. So I want to use my adult status to make the decision about a feeling. We're going to talk more about that in later on. But in the book, I go much more in depth than everything I talked to you guys about in the book. I go much more in depth. Another part of honor is consideration. So when I get this thought in my head to put this poison back into my body, and I have to see it as a poison because that's what it really is. Remember, I told you guys, you must know the truth about those thoughts. When I get this thought to put this poison back into my body, that filthy heroin with the filthy cooker, and the filthy syringe and cotton, when I get the thought to put that back into my body, I need to take those thoughts into consideration. I need to assess those thoughts. When I'm thinking about taking that 86 proof alcohol and pouring it down my throat, burning up my esophagus, burning up my stomach, burning up my liver, burning up my brain, I need to take those thoughts into consideration. And in sobriety, I have the ability to do that. But you must understand that you have the ability, because when you think about using, because that brain is conditioned, automatically you're going to start thinking failure. Because every time in the past, when I said I'm not going to use anymore, I started using again. Well, I want you to know that was then, and this is now. This is a brand new start for anybody out there who is working on their recovery. This is a brand new start. And you do not want to allow your past failed attempts to stop you from staying sober today. Because every time you relapse, that was a failed attempt. It doesn't mean that you're a failure. That was a failed attempt. I remember reading once that, Thomas Edison and Thomas Latimer was the son of a runaway slave. When they were inventing the electric light, they said that they had 999 failed attempts. And then they got it, but they didn't give up. They didn't give up on something they were trying to invent. How can we possibly give up on ourselves, our life, if we don't show any concern for ourselves? We don't take these thoughts into consideration. How can I do that? I'm not going to give up on inventing something. I'm a human being. We're human beings just like Thomas Edison and Thomas Latimer. We're human beings. And I always remind you guys, you're human being before you get on drugs, you're human being while you're on drugs, and you're human being when you come off drugs. The most powerful species on the planet is you. And you got to remember that. Not heroin, not crack, not alcohol, not methamphetamine. You are 1,000 times more powerful than any of these chemicals. Once you cleanse your body and mind of them and take control of yourself, you are the most powerful of all species on this planet. So try to remember that. So when I get a thought in reference to honoring myself, because I don't want to hurt myself, I want to live a good life. And believe me, I know drug addicted people do not like to be sick or like to be hurt. I remember when I was working at Good Samaritan Hospital in Rockland County, New York, and me and the doctor would have to talk to a patient. And we knock on the patient's door. And he see me with the doctor. Is everything all right? Scared to death. Don't want to be sick. No, we just came to talk to you a little bit about your aftercare, So I know for a fact that drug addicted people do not want to be sick, don't like pain, love to be healthy and strong. So if I honor myself, once again, I respect myself. When I'm thinking about respect, I'm thinking about respecting my heart, my liver, my lungs, my kidneys, my brain. If I take those thoughts into consideration, because I want to be strong, I want to be healthy, I want to see myself as a good person. I'm taking those thoughts into consideration. I'm not just going to react to them because I get a thought. And remember, your addiction is going to send you thoughts all the time, especially in early recovery. Those thoughts are going to filter, it would be nice to have a shot of dope, just one hit of that meth, just to be a little crack of alcohol. They're going to come in. But because we're sober, we don't have to react to them. We can understand them, we can assess them, and we can make the right decision. The right decision may not feel good. You may feel terrible after making the right decision, but you're going to get the best results. So each right decision I make, I'm getting stronger and my addiction is getting weaker. And I'm starting to feel better and better about myself, because now I'm proving to myself that I can beat this fella. He has no control over me today. So the more I honor myself and show that respect and take those thoughts into consideration, the stronger I'm going to get. Another part of honor is concern. Am I willing to show concern for myself? I want other people to show concern for me. If you go to the emergency room, you're on heroin, you're on alcohol, whichever one, you go to the emergency room and you say, I'm here, I'm addicted to drugs and I need help. I know you have a detoxification unit in the hospital. And the clerk said, get out of here, you drug addict. You would get angry. You would become enraged, start talking about suing the hospital because she showed no concern for you. What about showing concern for myself at this point where I've been beaten down by these poison chemicals and plants, trampled my life down? What about showing concern for myself now? This is your opportunity. So we're going to talk more about these things, but remember, it's deeper in the book. I go a lot deeper on all of these subjects. So you can really dig in deep into your mind and assess some of these things that I'm talking about that can help you be motivated to change your life. Once again, the book, Drug Addiction, the most powerful enemy against it, a recovering sober mind, can be purchased at jharris.westwoodbookspublishing.com. J. Harris, Westwood Books with an S, publishing.com. Barnes and Noble, Amazon.com. All right, subscribe to my channel. Hoping to hear from some of you guys, and God bless you.